Bom dia a todos. Good morning to everyone in Brazil. Afternoon to everyone in Israel. My name is Leticia. I work for the Israeli Economic Mission to Rio de Janeiro. My colleague Deborah and I will be coordinating the webinar today. For those who don't know us, the Israeli Economic Mission to Rio is part of a chain of around 50 offices of the Ministry of Economy and Industry of Israel around the world. We would like to thank you all for being here with us today. The event AI and Robotics for Mining and Construction will bring to the spotlight the importance of new technologies to the development of these sectors. And today we are happy to count on special guests who will bring the challenges faced by Brazil in construction and mining, and will also tell us how Israel has been gaining protagonism in the development of new technologies to overcome these challenges. So my colleague Deborah and I are responsible for Construtech, Industry 4.0 and mining in our office. So please feel comfortable to contact us during or after the event. We are opening for Q&A after the pitches, but feel comfortable to send your questions during the event through the balloon that is under your screen or through the chat. So we'll follow the agenda, which you have received by email. And as I've mentioned before, the purpose is to bring information about Israel, its technologies, and to facilitate your contact and interaction with Israeli companies. So even if you, so if you need if you need and are interested in meeting Israeli companies after the event, please feel free to reach out to us. And to begin, I would like to invite our Economic Counsel, Taly Segal, to talk about the Israeli innovation ecosystem. Taly, the stage is yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Leticia. Thank you, Deborah. And thank you, everyone that chose to join us today. I'll just share my screen. And if I'm already with the thank yous, I would also like to thank Karim from the Israeli Export Institute for their partnership making this event happen. And of course, to our great speakers, Gustavo and Telmo, thank you very much for being with us today. So as was mentioned, my name is Taly Segal-Ordentlich. I'm the Economic Consul of Israel to Brazil, and I will talk a little bit about the Israeli ecosystem and why Israel, why technologies, and what is actually happening there. As was mentioned by Leticia, we are part of the Israeli Ministry of Economy and Industry. We are part of a great group of 45 attaches around the world, 45 offices around the world located in financial capitals. And our main goal is to enhance the relationship between Brazil and Israel. It's to increase the businesses between the two countries and the private sectors in both countries. Brazil being such a very important country, we have two economic missions, one located in Rio de Janeiro, where we are at, and the other one in Sao Paulo. We are divided by sectors, and therefore we work together and separately promoting the sectors that we are responsible at. On the left side of the screen, you can find most of the things that we are doing, participating in national and multinational events, international events. Of course, we're talking about the good old days before the pandemic when people could meet, but due to the situation, we passed everything that we do to the virtual media, and we do everything. Today, there are events, there are exhibitions, and this event, and of course, B2Bs and anything that companies from both sides or institutions needs. One thing that is very important for us that we do backstage from this activities would be scouting. It's very important for us to be very precise and to give a tailor-made solution to to the companies that we work with. If it's a Brazilian that looks for a solution that can answer a specific challenge, and if it's the Israeli companies that would like to penetrate the market and find the right partner. So this is something that we do for both sides, and it's one of the main infrastructure work that we are doing in order to get to this event in the best moment. A bit of fun facts about Israel for those of you planning to visit and couldn't do it because of the pandemic yet. So Israel has the Dead Sea, which is known in Hebrew as Yam HaMelach, which is the Sea of Salt. We are the only ones that call it that way. And it's the lowest point on Earth, surrounded by, if you ask me, the most marvelous view that you can find, the Negev Desert, a real brown and beautiful desert. Israeli people are happy people, apparently. I'm sure that if you ask them directly, they'll say no way, but according to numerous studies, Israel is ranked as the happiest people among Western nations. Israel is the only country in the world that has more trees than it has 50 years ago. And I can also mention that we have a special holiday where we just plant trees. Everybody learn together how to do it. The passenger of Israel in the national airlines, El Al, clapped to the pilot when the aircraft touched the ground. And if you're in a good day, they might also sing, Event Shalom Aleichem, and you might hear it. And Israel has more museums per capita than any other country in the world, including one that is underwater. So you're welcome to visit once you can. A bit of dry facts about Israel. So it's a territory of 22,000 kilometers square, half of the state of Rio de Janeiro. The official language is Hebrew. The currency is shekel, which is about 3.47 to the dollar. And it's a very stable currency. It's been around that number in recent years. The population is a bit more than 9 million people and keep on counting. Israel has the highest fertility in the OECD countries. And geographically, we are located in the Middle East. We have mostly land borders with Arabic countries around us, and of course, the Mediterranean Sea. Our economy is considered a very high developed and stable economy. You can see these figures from 2020. The GDP per capita is $1,000, a growth rate of 3.4, of course, to 2019, credit rate of AA minus, and an export of $150 billion, which we are always looking at this number and expecting to increase it. Israel is a small market, as you can understand, only 9 million people, and therefore we are doing everything to make it bigger. And you will see and feel that the Israeli companies are very international, and they're looking to be more global. And this is where the state of mind of the Israeli businesses in general. And of course, these numbers are great, but I cannot ignore the pandemic that touched every country in the world. But as you guys can see, the pandemic catches Israel in a good moment, and therefore even the setback that we had was a smaller setback than other OECD countries, as the OECD checked. And luckily, the numbers for 2021, due to the vaccine, due to the way that that Israel deals with it, we do expect a growth, which would be a positive growth between 2 to 4%. So we expect a good year after all. And as a good economy, and why we have a good economy, we have a lot of multinational operating in Israel. I'm guessing you know all the names that you see on the board. All of these multinational, all of these multinational have R&D centers in Israel. This is the core business of most of the companies. 13% of the Israel GDP comes from the high-tech industry, and I guess that if you look at more recent numbers, you will see a higher number due to the fact that a lot of industries, of traditional industry, had a setback with the pandemic, and actually the high-tech industry, especially in Israel, was thriving with the pandemic and with the need in technologies and innovation. Israel has about 4,000 startups, which is a lot of startup per capita, one of the highest number in the world. It is ranked third in the New York Stock Exchange market only after US and China, and ranked 4 as a global startup ecosystem in the world, only after the US, UK, and Canada. Israel has almost 1,400 new startups every year. Some of them you might know, heard, or used during your daily life. If it's the ways that takes us to work, if it's the flash drive that not a lot of people know what was actually born in Israel. The Pilka, Mobileye, Iron Dome, Cherry Tomato, and other invention that takes part of our daily life, and sometimes even change it. So it was born in Israel. And the big question is why? Why in such a small, faraway country with many challenges? Israel is a relatively very young country. We are only 73 years old. It's migration oriented and has a very diverse population. I don't know if most knows, but every Jewish person in the world can come and be a citizen in Israel. Therefore, we have a very diverse cultural population, and that makes it a lot of new ideas and a lot of people from many places in the world that lives together. We have a very challenging geographical environment. We are not in diplomatic relation with most of the countries that are in our borders, and we are lacking of natural resources. We barely have any at all. And yet, if I had to say why is it happening in Israel, and if I had to choose a word, it would be, as you can guess, mindset. The Israeli mindset, the state of mind of the Israeli people is a very oriented to solution. The challenges that we had, the reality that Israel was built, some says that Israel itself is a startup, just took people to understand that they have to take risks, and it's something that stayed in our DNA. We have to take risks. You might fail, probably 50% that you might fail, but that does succeed, the one that does become a product, the one that does become something, is the one to build this Israeli ecosystem. So there is a lot of tolerance for failure, something that you will feel also from the institutional bodies, not only from the startups itself or from the small companies. It's something that you will feel from the government, from budget government, say, you will try, you will research, we will back up, and if you fail, we fail together. If you succeed, it's all of our success. So we actually took these challenges to the next level. We kind of fall in love with them and make them our advantage, and become a society that is very oriented to, some say, fall in love with the problem in order to find a solution. And this is where it is at today. This creates a very important ecosystem that speaks to each other, an ecosystem that works together. And I will name a few of these great players that we have. So first of all, we have the universities that takes these very young minds. And today you will not find a university in Israel that doesn't have something that is related to innovation. It could be a hub, it could be an innovation center, it could be just an office that takes care of the market, or anything that can be that can help this very new mind these very new ideas becoming an actual product, go to market, and to help these students and take them from the very, very early stage. We have, of course, the government with budgets and programs, national and international programs, to help scale up for companies and startups and ideas. A very unique thing that we have is the army, which also takes very young minds and give them a lot of knowledge, but also a lot of experience. And you will find a lot of startups that started with this very great computer units and others that created the new ideas that you probably heard of. Of course, this ecosystem speaks to each other. The government, the university, the army always speaks to the industry, and that makes it a very good ecosystem that we have today. The fact that we are small, the fact that we are a very non-hierarchy population makes it easier to get connected, to know each other, to share ideas. and to become what we are today. Someone once told me that to know anyone in Israel, you just need to know two people, to know someone that knows someone. And I have to say, since I'm in this position, it's been proving itself. And you can actually get to almost anyone that you want. And this brings a lot of motivation to the population and understanding that this is that thing that works in Israel. Therefore, you would find 50% of the Israeli population between the age of 25 to 64 acquiring higher education. So this is a very educated population that we have. So how do we translate it to numbers? In the last decade, Israel had more than 1,200 deals that brought about $110 billion. These were the Israeli exit. The one that you see in 2017 is the big one in pink, is the exit of Mobileye, purchased by Intel. But this number is rising every year. We don't have 2020 here. In 2020, we did have less exits, if any, due to the fact that people could not meet, they could not come to Israel. Israel people could not go, and companies were not inquired. But I can say that in 2020, after the first half of the year, Israel raised a huge number of foreign capital, which was higher than 2019. People did not purchase, but people did invest from all around the world. And therefore, the numbers of 2020 of raising foreign capital was higher than the one in 2019. And today, they already published the number for the first half of 2021, and Israel already raised more money and have more unicorns that it had in the year of 2020 and 2019. So we are optimistic about 2021. You can see some of this inquiry. You probably knows, again, all the names on the board. Most of the companies that were purchased become either a department in the company or the R&D center that we are talking about in Israel. So where does it put Brazil? Brazil and Israel. We see our economies a very completing economy. Brazil being a huge, very potential market with the will to scale up. Israel, a very small market. With a lot of will to share and to share knowledge and to bring more innovation and to adjust to any market that is possible. Brazil is a very important ally and a very important economic partner for Israel. It's one of the 10 biggest export countries that Israel has, with a trade balance of $1.5 billion, which is a lot of money for Israel. And if you're coming to do business with Israel, it's very important to know that Israel has a trade agreement, a free trade agreement. A free trade agreement with Mercosur, Brazil being one of the countries, and a very important one, the biggest one. And that means that all the items that are in the agreement between Brazil and Israel are on zero import tax. We have nearly 90% of the total tax book, and that's a lot. And therefore, when you come to do business with Israel and you want to know if the item that you want to import is in the agreement, and you can benefit from this benefit, so you can turn to us, you can turn to the team, and we will check and let you know. R&D agreement, this is also something that we do as governmental institutions. We do agreements with local institutions in order to enhance projects and other economic possibilities. So we have the Israeli Innovation Authority that leading this from the side of Israel. We have two agreements with MBRP and FINEP. It works with open calls for companies to submit with joint project, and then they get funding from the institution in their side. So if it's something that is in your interest, I would recommend to stay tuned and to see what 2021 will bring as an open call. And it's all about opportunities. This is why we are here today. Israel has a lot to hope for in many fields. Almost you cannot touch a sector or a segment in the market itself that you will not find the Israeli solution that can fit it. Israel has the ability to adjust and to know how to adjust the solution to the problem and to find the right solution to any challenge that you can put. And today we're talking about AI and robotics, which I know it's a very hot topic and a very interesting topic for this traditional industry, such as the mining and the construction tech, which is most of our crowd. And today we will have 4 companies presenting and showing at a glance the option and the possibility that Israel has to offer. But as was mentioned by Leticia, we are here for you. First of all, if you want to talk to each of this company, we will be more than happy to connect after you hear them. We'll be more than happy to find more solutions that you find relevant in these areas and others. And we are here for you for anything that you need in that sense. I want to thank the companies for participating today, and hope that you will enjoy and find this solution as great as they really are. So thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Taly, for the initial remarks. It's good to hear about the Israelis' spirit to innovate and how Israeli technologies are in our daily lives. I would like to call Karin Hen to talk a little bit about Israeli new technologies. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank you, the Israel Export Institute, again, for supporting us in the organization of this event. Karin, stage is yours.
Thank you very much. Bom dia, everyone. Hello from Israel, from Tel Aviv. My name is Karin Hen. I'm the head of sectors of Industry 4.0, Advanced Manufacturing, also dealing with automotive, mobility, transportation, and everything that is related to that. So I won't give a long speech. This is mainly to wish luck to everyone, but I do want to tell you that in general, as Taly said before, also the Israeli ecosystem is really consisted of very cutting-edge technologies, and you will see that no matter in what sector, specifically today, obviously I4, that the very open-minded approach, solution, whatever problem you might have in your country, in your region or city or factory, if we narrow it down, there is probably some solution for it, very out of the box thinking, very flexible for the customer, due to the reasons that Taly has mentioned before also. I will just tell you that in general about the I4 sector, we have around the ecosystem around 100 companies that deal with everything from maintenance, IoT, operations optimization, cyber for the factory, 3D printing, inspections. So basically, as I've mentioned before, the solutions cover pretty much everything. And also Industry 4.0 in general is getting a very high exposure here in the local ecosystem. I can tell you that this is a topic that is being discussed here a lot. We're also going to have a dedicated conference for I4 in November that we can talk about it later, because people see interest in the Israeli companies, and also there are many companies who want to get involved in that field and really think about solutions that help in that. So as I've said before, any subsector that you can think about is probably there. Just the numbers, investment-wise, for example, in 2020, the investments in Israeli companies in all the subsectors I mentioned before was around $500 million. And only in Q1 of this year, 2021, it was already around $30 million. Investments from both internal Israelis and from the outside. Many companies who are already beyond the stage of R&D, basically they already have some prototype or a product to show. Some of them may even sell already, so it's something that is very developing. I don't want to, I want to give more time really to the companies so you can see what I'm talking about. We have only 4 here with us today. but I can assure you that there are more, and you have great 4 companies today who will present to you. And as my colleagues in Rio de Janeiro said before, any question you have, any need you have, and you might not even know that we have it or not, please approach us, and we'll try to help you with that. And that's it. Good luck to everyone.
Thanks, Karim. To continue, I would like to call Gustavo Roque from Hello Mining Ventures, and who know very well Israel. So, Gustavo, stage is yours.
Leticia, thank you very much. Deborah, Taly, thank you very much for the invitations. Good morning and good afternoon for all. As Leticia said, my name is Gustavo Roque. I am Innovation Manager for iron ore at Vale, but today I'm not here at Vale. I am here as the founder of Hello Mining Ventures, which is an initiative that explores opportunities in this huge market, which is mining. But before to explaining what is Hello Mining and the opportunities that we are exploring here, I'd like to mention that in 2018, I ideated and co-founded the Mining Hub. For our friends in Israel, our Mining Hub, it's the first sector innovation hub that has 25 mining companies working together to solve problems in the common challenges. And in a collaborative way, we have been developing solutions in partnership with startups for 5 key teams, and it's been very successful during this process. But also in 2018, I had the opportunity to be in Israel for 2 to 3 months studying at the Hebrew University and understanding this innovation ecosystem that the country has. And during this process, I understood that we need 2 pillars. The first one, it's the physical space, the environment, which is the mining hub. And the second pillar, it's capital. Without capital, we cannot develop startups and support entrepreneurs to develop solutions in Brazil. And talking with JVP, our crowd, and many other funds in Israel, when I back to Brazil, I decided not only to create the space, but also to create this arm of venture capital in Brazil. It took a little bit time, actually almost 3 years after we launched the Mining Hub. But this year, we are starting using the Hello Mining brand in partnership with Capital. Capital is the largest venture capital managers in Brazil, looking for B2B solutions, not B2C. And we are starting to build this fund. We aim to be, for Brazilian market, it's a reasonable size of fund. It's a $100 million fund. I know that for Israel and maybe Silicon Valley, it doesn't too much, but for the Brazilian ecosystem, it's a big amount to be invested in, especially in a very dedicated sector as mining. And we are in partnership with the first limited partners. We are designing the thesis that the fund will invest. And in this thesis, we have AI and robotics, of course. But it's important to say that the fund will be a bridge for both sides here, for the Israeli and many others startups or tech companies internationally, and also for the mining companies. Because in the process to invest, we need to identify the trends, the technologies, and the opportunities that we have that could be applied in mining. And it's important to say that we are not looking only for mining. For example, when we go to Israel, I know that mining sector is not very known for the entrepreneurs there. It's, to be honest, my first time in Israel, when I explained that I worked with mining, the common questions were, oh, Bitcoin mining? And I said, no, it's the old-fashioned way that we do in Brazil. But we know that in the defense market, in the agrotech market, and many other health markets, we have many solutions that could be adapted or pivot for attend also the mining sectors. So when we have this kind of initiatives here, connecting the both countries and understanding the opportunities, it's starting to be more clear. How can we explore these opportunities? Of course, if you go to Israel and ask, oh, bring me the mining solutions, we're going to have maybe not so big solutions. But when you start to look in a different way, for example, we're talking about autonomous in mining. How many threats of cybersecurity we may have? And we know that Israel it's very advanced in those solutions. So how can we bring these solutions for our autonomous operations in different perspectives? So the fund will be exploring these opportunities for both sides, for the entrepreneurs abroad Brazil to understand how to start in Brazil, how to connect with the key players, how to take advantage of our capital to start operations here. And for the mining companies in Brazil, we're gonna be supporting them to understand the trends, the technology, and the opportunities that is being developed abroad. So I believe that in the next months, after we establish the fund, because we are still in the phase to build the fund, to collect the first letter of intentions, after we have the first limited partners in this process, this kind of connectors will be more clear. But Hello Mining is not only a VC fund. We are exploring all the gaps that the mining opportunities that the mining sector has and could be explored for many other entrepreneurs. In the next weeks, we're going to launch the Hello Mining Jobs. Hello Mining Jobs is a portal, not only a portal, but also a trade fair that we're going to show for the communities the many opportunities to work with us we have. International careers, training programs, intern programs, opportunities for humans, opportunity for people with disabilities, many kinds of strategies that the mining companies has. And when we look this separately, it doesn't show the huge market that has and the several opportunities that is being explored. We also going to be launching the Hello Mining Academy. Hello Mining Academy, it's an initiative that try to give the upskill and the reskills for the executives in mining. When you talk about AI, for many executives, it may see like a science fiction, and you know that it doesn't. We have AI every day in our day-to-day work and how it can be applied. But when you take this kind of knowledge and deploy to them, connecting with the challenges and the operations, it's gonna be easier to understand. Sometimes when we think about robotics, it just came to our mind, Boston Dynamics with the big robots, but what other solutions we have? How can we introduce for them this kind of opportunities through the learnership process? And probably in the beginning of 2022, we will also launch the Hello Mining TV. Hello Mining TV, it's a channel, it's an open channel with content introducing this kind of opportunities that I said before, which are the solutions in cybersecurity, in agri-tech, in health, and in defense that could be applied in mining. Which are the cases that is being succeed in this process and could be introduced for the sector. So the idea of Hello Mining is to speed up this process and support both sides, like a stage where companies, entrepreneurs can show the solutions and the case, and a way for the mining sectors to connect this. And when you mention about mining sectors, as I said in the mining hub, imagine 25 mining companies working together. And one thing that I like to highlight is we have more than 2 million persons working in the mining sectors in Brazil, direct and non-direct. And one case of opportunity that I like to mention, for example, Samsung is developing a project for Anglo America, and they are deploying the smartwatch to track and monitor the employees in Anglo America. So imagine 2 million employees using smartwatch and the market that will be opened for entrepreneurs. apps, solutions, any kinds of ideas that can bring to monitoring these persons. Another point that I like to mention, last week was released the profit of Vale, actually the profit of Amazon in the last quarter. I don't know if you guys are aware, but Amazon, which is the 60th biggest company in Brazil, had a profit of $7.8 billion. This Amazon, it's very innovative, 60 largest company in the world. And Vale, which is one of the 300 largest companies in Brazil, had a profit of 7.6 billion. And let's face it, Vale is not the most efficient company in the world and not the most innovative. So can you imagine how many opportunities the mining company has? Because if today we are providing this kind of profits, imagine if we start to invest a very small amount of this profits in innovations, in R&D. The sky, it's the limit. And when you compare these both companies that are shown here, it's unbelievable. The profits that is being deployed for the mining companies in the last 24, 30 months. So the idea to bring Hello Mining here is to show for our colleagues in Israel the many opportunities that the mining sector has in Brazil, and sometimes it's a hidden gem that you don't know that's there. And for our colleagues in Brazil, it's to show the potential to connect with entrepreneurs and solutions in Israel. We are doing this through the fund and many other strategies, but we can do this directly here. We can export the many trade fairs that it has in Israel with different subjects, with different targets. So as a person who was there for 3 months and who is enthusiast of this bridge, Taly knows that since the beginning of Mining Hub, we have been working to strengthen this partnership with Israel. I am inviting everyone to build this bridge and try to take the most advantage of this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gustavo. We still need to do this delegation to go to Israel once.
Yeah.
We go somewhere.
Sure.
It's in our to-do list. Thank you.
Thank you guys for the invitation.
Thank you, Gustavo. I'm sure we'll have a lot of questions. So we will open for the questions in the end of everyone's line. Before continuing, I just would like to say to our attendees that if you would like to change your names in the Zoom, it's possible. You just need to click and put rename. So if you would like to identify your company, it's possible. Because I saw that some people are commenting in the chat. So it's good that we all know where you're speaking from. And to continue, I would like to call Telmo Ghiorzi from the Industrial Engineering Association. Telmo, you may go ahead. I'm just going to share the screen now.
Okay, thank you very much, Leticia. Thank you, Deborah, and all of you guys for the invitation. I will share with you, well, Leticia will share with you my presentation, which is not in this one. Leticia?
Sorry, just one moment, my computer.
There you go.
Can you see?
Thank you, Leticia. Yes, well, at least I can see. So I will present some opportunities and challenges in the future of the Brazilian engineering and construction industry. Please go ahead, Leticia.
Sorry, my computer is a bit slow here, Telmo, but soon it will change.
Well, if you give me more time, it's fine with me.
Just one moment, Telmo. My colleague will share because my computer is kind of slow. Sorry for that.
That's fine. So Deborah will share. Right.
Yes, Deborah is opening the presentation there.
There you go. So you may go. Yes. So just want to tell you who we are. So we are the Brazilian Association of Industrial Engineering. So we have more than 50 companies in the sectors of real engineering and the construction itself. So we were founded in 1964, and this is the kind of companies we have in our association. Companies as large as Odebrecht or Meta, which is the new name of OAS, or Camargo Correa, Montcalm, and several other companies like, for instance, Doris, which is a French company, engineering company, which is not here, and any other. Those are the largest engineering and construction companies in Brazil. So just to let you know who we are, and who am I representing here today. So please, Deborah, next slide. So the first thing I want to share with you is, well, we have a real deficit of infrastructure and energy and power in Brazil. Over the next 10 years, we are expecting more than $500 billion of investment in Brazil. So it's 3 trillion. If we consider only oil and gas, water and sewage treatment, so only the very basic of our country. So we have, of course, oil and gas in Brazil. It's our most important sector, and so we are not considering here what Gustavo just told us. That we still have more than that if we consider mining, if we consider steel making, if we consider petrochemicals or glass or ceramic or cars, whatever. So we have a lot of investment in planet in Brazil, and maybe not all of this will be actually become concrete, literally. Or some of this is it's equipment and not exactly engineering and construction, but we still have a lot of investment in Brazil. These are official figures. Of course, it may change. 10 years is a long time, and the country and the world is a bit too complicated, especially now with the pandemic. But we really expect a lot of investment in Brazil. So we are way behind in terms of infrastructure in Brazil, and this is kind of a thing we just can't. There's not an option. We just have to go. So please, next slide, Deborah. So when I say industrial engineering, I'm talking about industrial engineering and heavy construction. We are not talking about light civil construction or houses or shopping centers or small things. Well, I'm talking about real large projects like hydroelectrical power plants or nuclear power plants or petrochemicals or offshore oil and gas platforms. These really large projects. And we are talking about all of this: the conceptual design, which is engineering, the basic design, we call FEED, front-end engineering design, and then detailed design, and then the EPC model, either for greenfield and for brownfield. So modifications and new projects. And we are not talking about civil engineering, but all of these disciplines: mechanical, chemical, economics, geology, whatever. So it's a very complex set of resources that we need to put together this kind of a real large project. So let's go, Deborah. So the point is, we are in the middle of something that we really don't know yet where this is heading to. We know there is a thing called engineering and construction 4.0 or construction 4.0. The engineering and construction sector is way behind in terms of its digital transformation. But this framework here is being kind of a conversion. Many papers and many books are going towards this framework here. This figure here, for instance, it is from a book launched in 2020. So this is very recent. For you guys in the technology area, maybe it's just bread and butter. But for us in engineering and construction, there's a lot of things here that are brand new. So for instance, drones or cloud-based or augmented reality and virtual reality, these things that are still being absorbed by the engineering and construction industry. So there is this thing called BIM, Building Information Modeling, which is the brain or the heart of this whole engineering and construction 4.0. And we have what happens in the real construction site. And we have additive manufacturing like 3D, we have offsite construction, we have IoT, we have a lot of things, but the combination of this is it's still becoming, it's still under, it's not yet born. So let's go for the next slide. So this is some examples. So Andrade Gutierrez is a company that's not part of ABEMI, it's part of our other associations in Brazil. This is one of the largest engineering and construction companies in Brazil, and I'm sharing you just very few examples of what they are doing with these new technologies in the engineering and construction arena. So, for instance, it may appear very obvious to you, but it's something new for us. So, control project documents in a cell phone. So everybody will be in the same page. Literally on the same page, because no more problems with people using the drawing revision 2, other people using drawing revision number 5, and this kind of thing that still used to happen in this industry is no longer happening because, well, we are using different tools. Or, for instance, using drones to install transmission lines. Normally, it's a truck transporting the transmission lines. Now we are using drones. Or normally we have people going to a construction site, taking photos and checking by themselves personally what's going on. Now we have a drone taking photos, sending to a system that will make everything automatic. So there's no more, at least there's less subjectivity. So what's going on in the project is being displayed by a drone and a system. So the project manager will have a real understanding of what's going on in the project without people working, but with a drone and something very automatic. It's not fully automatic, but it's going in this direction. So just to give you some of examples. Again, this may seem very obvious to you, but in the engineering and construction industry, it's not at all. So let's go for the next slide, please. So these are some of the studies of, in this left side, we have McKinsey report, and right side we have Deloitte report. Sorry, the other way around. So left side is Deloitte, and right side is McKinsey. So despite a lot of advances, the construction sector is way behind. So we are very late compared with other sectors. For instance, in the McKinsey report states that only hunting and simple agriculture are worse than engineering and construction. We are very poor in this. And we know that, so it's not something new for us, but we are trying to move. So again, can you go for the next slide, please? So this delay or this late digitalization or late digital transformation in the engineering sector it's illusory. So there is a lot of initiatives all over the world. So we have in Quebec the initiative Québécoise pour la construction capitale. We have something in UK for Center for Digital Build Britain. We have China Construction 4.0, but all of these initiatives, they have 3 to 4 years. So these countries are just starting their initiatives on Construction 4.0. And there is a global delay, let's say, in this. And in Brazil, we created our initiative too. We are calling this PROEC, which is Brazilian acronym. Please, to that. So we have these 4 companies, 4 organizations working together. ABEMI, which is industrial, the association that I'm representing here. We have Sinicom, which is the another association. It's a kind of a union of companies in the construction for infrastructure. We have Deloitte, the consulting company, global consulting company. We have the Institute of Engineering, and also we have a technological park out of Sorocaba, which is a town close to São Paulo in Brazil. So we put together all of these associations here. We put together this program just to face the other countries that are working together. I didn't find anything on Israel regarding engineering and construction. Maybe you have something like that. That's the best we could find so far in terms of who is doing what. We have Singapore, we have Australia, we have China, we have Europe, we have UK. Maybe other countries are doing something. We don't know. Next slide, please. So this is the conceptual foundations of this program. So we have as pillars capability of local companies. We have a lot of large companies with more than 50 or some of our companies that have 100 years of experience in engineering and construction. We have a lot of accumulation of technological capabilities. Second, we just have to go. So we have no options because other countries will go. Other companies are going to. So we have to go. And third, we have 3 trillion investment over the next 10 years. So there's a lot of good factors. And we decided to divide our initiative in 3 concurrent initiatives. So first of all, create or put together the economic and technological data regarding the Brazilian engineering and construction sector. It's a very poor, it's a mixed. When you go to the websites of the government, there's a lot of confusion. So the same company that puts together a house, a small, simple house, it's compared with a company that puts together a platform of oil and gas. So it's a bit confused, or the data are mixed, and we want to split this data and see what are we doing, who are we, who we are. The second thing is creating some technology and innovation policy, which is in the end is industrial policy. We don't have industrial policy in Brazil, or it's a bit confused, and we are creating this industrial policy based on technology and innovation, which is the IMF, International Monetary Fund. They call it TIP, Technology and Innovation Policy, and we are following the same terminology. So we know that we have to get out from our natural resources based industry. Some of you will know the natural resources curse. It's not good to keep your economy based on natural resources. We have to be more complex, more sophisticated. Second, we have to base our industry on exports, just like you do in Israel. Brazil is not really guided by exports, except for natural resources. And we want to change this for more sophisticated products and goods and services to be exported. And third, accountability. So it's a bit complex here. I don't want to go to the details. And the third thing is Nexor, which is innovation center to be located in Sorocaba, and a small town close to São Paulo, not really small, it's 700,000 inhabitants. But this is the basis of our program, the PROEC. This is something that it's brand new. So only 6 months ago, we created this. We are in the middle of creating now how this is going to work. For instance, right now, Deloitte is making interviews with 25 selected companies in Brazil, selected engineering and construction companies, to understand and put together their opinion on what are the real challenges, what we want to do. So if you go to the next slide, please, Deborah. So these are the most important initiatives we have now. So we have this, it's called PTS, Parque Tecnológico de Sorocaba. It's something that is already there for the last 10 years or so. It has a big area, and there's already a lot of startups there, a lot of universities already there, but they have nothing on the engineering and construction sector. We are just creating this now, this engineering and construction side of this technological center close to São Paulo, 1 hour driving from São Paulo. So what the next will do? So first, it will solve issues through 4.0 technologies. We want to incorporate the culture of innovation and 4.0 industry through solving issues. So we are not looking for solutions, we are looking for problems. Right now, what Deloitte is doing is, what are the 5 or 10 most important problems, issues, challenges of the engineering and construction industry? Then we are going to look for the startups or universities or whatever. Instead of trying to find a solution and then trying to match what are the problems of that solution, we are looking for problems to be sure that we are not going to go this crazy thing of looking for solutions and then trying to find the problem. Let's find the problems, and it's not easy. People don't know exactly what are the problems. Second thing is educate engineers in engineering and construction 4.0. Our engineers, they are leaving the university without having a clue. What is this construction 4.0, whatever? So something yet not incorporated in our engineering course. And third, it will be like a showroom of engineering and construction 4.0 technology. And this is something that I never worked for Oracle, but Oracle has done something very interesting. And we are using this Oracle video here as a reference. What we want to do in Sorocaba, in this technological center. So Deborah, if you can click on the and share the video with us. It's 2 minutes video just to show what you're trying to do in Sorocaba. Hopefully it works, because videos in Zoom, at least with my Mac OS, doesn't work.
I think it's loading, Telmo. Just let's wait a few seconds. If it doesn't work, we'll move on.
So in the meantime, I will just ask after Taly and Gustavo, if you can take a look at the chat, that there are some people turning to you guys. So if you can take a look afterwards.
Well, Deborah, if you go directly to the Google, Oracle Innovation Lab, whatever, it's a very interesting video. So you can see what people are doing, what other companies are doing in the engineering and construction sector. Well,
Deborah, what's the status?
Cannot hear it?
Cannot hear it or see it.
Deborah?
Yes, just one moment, please.
Looking for new technologies that
yes, that's perfect.
The vision was to have as many partners and as many customers come together to learn. And really, we're here to learn.
All the biggest construction companies are actively looking for new technologies that can help them run their business better. And Oracle's the first one to bring those technologies together to showcase them in a real life environment.
Innovation labs that allow you to interact and touch and feel and use the technology have always been more profound and more useful.
Today at the lab, we have experiences that show technologies on sensors, drones, autonomous vehicles, remote control, construction equipment, connected tools, material tracking solutions, worker alerts, and visualization tools for augmented reality and virtual reality.
By Oracle hand selecting certain technologies that all do different things really well and trying to bring them all together shows that you could potentially interact with all these technologies in one platform.
A facility like this allows us to collaborate directly one-to-one, one-to-many, and help solve that industry problem around productivity so we can build more efficiently and effectively.
We can come, put our operations aside, and just roll up our sleeves and try something new in a safe environment here that Oracle is providing.
We are a very reactive industry, and in order to get to a proactive state, we have to move from manually capturing information to automating that data capture to get to a predictive state.
It's really the convergence of this digital world with this physical world, and it comes together, and there's really no better place than construction to actually see that happen.
We're here to get as much feedback as we can for our customers and understand how their connected ecosystem fits together in terms of the technology.
Customers and partners had a significant impact to the development of the site. We shared them the concept, we got their buy-in and their ideas, and we collaborated with partners and customers to develop it.
This is really just kind of the beginning, and we look forward to the future with Oracle.
Right now is the most exciting time to be in construction technology.
So again, I do not work for Oracle. I have anything to do with them. I've talked to them about this. This place is in Chicago. It's already bigger than it was in this movie, but they could not make the re-inauguration because of the pandemic. But we are using this as a reference. So this is the kind of thing we want to have to show and to develop new technologies in the engineering and construction sector. And this is it. I'm open to your to the Q&A and other discussions.
Thank you so much.
Again, thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you for the insightful presentation, Telmo. It's true that Brazil is still walking towards innovation in the sector, but I'm glad to see that we are having a large crowd here, very interested in the topic. And right now I'd like to call my colleague Deborah to moderate the pitches and the Q&A sessions.
Thank you, Leticia. Hi, everyone. Most of you must know me already, but as mentioned, I'm Deborah. I lead the mining sector here at the Israeli office in Brazil. Very nice to have you all with us today. And sorry, there's a phone ringing here beside me. So I'm glad to call our Israeli companies to start the pitch part. And the first one is Noah. Noah, please, will present about Deception. Feel free to share your screen, and the stage is yours. I'll be here facilitating.
Thank you, Deborah. Buen día a todos. Thank you, Taly, Deborah, and Leticia for inviting me here today. I will just share my screen.
So our next colleague is Yehuda from Cogni team. Please, Yehuda, please feel free to share your screen, start a presentation. The stage is yours.
Hello all, my name is Yehuda Al-Maliach. I am the CEO of Cogni team, and I will speak with you now about our solution. So Cogni team is a technological company focused on AI and robotics. Our leading team is from left to right is Nahum Kaminka. Dr. Nahum Kaminka is the CFO and business development. Mr. Andrew Owens is a strategic advisor and investor. He was the founder and the CEO of the biggest private company in the UK. Me, I am the CEO, and I hold a PhD in computer science focused on robotics. And Ari Akiri is the VP R&D, also a very well-known person in robotics and R&D. So over the last 10 years, when Cogni team was established till today, until last year, we were focused mostly on turnkey solutions for robotics company. For example, companies all over the world came to us and we build them a turnkey solution, specific solution to their need. For example, a localization, a path planning to their robots in a different environment, not only mining, in indoor, in off-road, in outdoor environments. Over those years, we also developed different kinds of robots, as you can see in right, robots for R&D in labs, robots for R&D purposes in outdoor. For example, if you wanted to check something in the mine and you have a small team of developers or engineers, it's a very good platform to develop and to write code on top of it. And you get all the necessary localization, mapping, etc. services over this platform and write the specific test cases. And also below is also a R&D platform for warehouses, etc. Working with all the clients, in the last 10 years, we found that there is a cross problem or a cross problem that all of our clients suffers from. First, it's difficult to develop software for robots. If you take also a very good programmers to write programs for robots, it's a different world. It's not it's not a clearly computer science world. It's not a clearly engineering. It's all between. So it takes time to write code for robots. It takes time to deliver hardware for clients, to deliver robots, to give all the support for the robots, and if you see also the world, the robotic world, it's not in the way that we see the purely high-tech, the software one. If you take, for example, Google, a lot of people work with Gmail. We always get updates behind the scene that Google always update their software, and we are, as a user, doesn't feel that something happened, but we always see new features and things. This is not happening currently now in robotics. So in order to make it to be and connected to this new world, we developed Nimbus. Nimbus, and is going to be launched in this month in about 2 weeks. Nimbus is a high-level cloud-based operating system for robots. It allows companies that develop robots and IoT solutions easily develop software, easily deploy, get insights, get analytics, not only on robots, not only on a specific IoT device, but also for a fleet, in a manner of a fleet. For example, if I have a fleet of robots in a specific mine, in a specific site, I want to get insight about this specific site and another site, different insight. For example, one of the robots is working less than the others, and a lot of other insights that you can get, and all the delivery of the AI that could be fluent. So Nimbus offer its clients is a purely software, and it offers clients software, easy software development, fleet management, monitoring, analytic, connectivity to cloud, simulation that run on the browser without an installation, and the different algorithms that already made. I will give you here a short taste from few models that we are developing. For example, the software development phase. In the software development, there are a lot of boxes. As you can see here in right, there are boxes. Each of those boxes are algorithms. For example, here you can see a person follower algorithm. It has in left inputs and in right outputs. And below you can see a different algorithm already made that the programmer only needed to wire between them. The input of one and the output is the output for another. And by that visually writing the code, all of this code and those components has their own code and they are already built. And by easily deploying the software to the robot. If a company has to build its own box, it's also a way by easily build the specific code and focus. And this is one of the problems in robotics, that most of the companies focus on not in the pure algorithm that they need to solve, but mostly on the system. So here Nimbus is freeing the development effort from developing the system to focus on the specific task of the robot in the specific environment that it needs to work. And they can use a variety and rich library of codes that you can see here, and also develop their own unique IP. For example, This is from the new view in Nimbus. For example, I wanted to define a specific robot. I want to drag the specific sensors of the robot. Nimbus know a lot of different sensors from different vendors. You can see these boxes. You wanted to add a new box, and each box is a lot of code behind this box. You can just add it to your project and connect those boxes, the output from one box to an input from another box, and make it as a flow for the robot. And now, if you are sufficient with this and you wanted to try it in the robot, you just put on the deploy, and this code is going to be deployed on the specific robot or in a specific fleet. For example, as a result, you will be able to see now a robot navigate in an environment. Also, all the visualization tool is also as part of Nimbus. You can see it on maps. You can see the location. You can see object detection. For example, this is a simple person detection object and test planner. So all of that is part of what Nimbus gives to its clients. Another aspect is the fleet management. If I wanted to see an information about the fleet, what the fleet is doing, how it's work, what is the average time that it takes to a robot in these fleets to do a task. All of those analytics are gathering, and you can see them on the cloud, on the browser, by easily approaching to the fleet. In addition, to do experiments in robotics, it takes time. It's a logistic way. For example, if we are trying to develop make or convert a mining truck to be autonomous, any experiment takes a lot of time. So you can also do that by doing it and deploying it in simulation. After you're satisfied with the code, you can run it on the real robot by saving a lot of experiment time. For example, this is also a part of the Nimbus, and it's run also without installing any simulation. It's a simulation that run on the browser out of Nimbus. You choose the sensors that you wanted to install into your robot, define it in the right way that it will be in the robots. All the algorithms know now the relation and the location of the sensor, and now you can deploy it, put it in an environment. Here, for example, is an indoor environment. We can also do it for a truck mining. We add the model of the truck. We can put in the real truck where will be the sensors, and can deploy it in an environment. This is, for example, for this conference, we had a mining truck, and you see the LiDAR's scans and what the robot can see. And the code that you write for the simulation is the same code that goes to the real robot, to the real fleet. So actually, what Nimbus gives you here is another way of developing and installing software for robot and understanding all the fleets in a global view for this solution, and taking it. If we're talking about robot, IoT devices is exactly the same. Putting a camera that recognize and count person. All of those runs on the edge, and in the cloud, you can see an understanding on the analytics and the information. That's all about us. I will be happy. I will be happy if you can send me any question.
Thank you very much, Yehuda. If you want to share your contacts in the Q&A session, please feel also free to do so. And now I'd like to pass the word to our next contact, Danny Berko from QC. Danny, please, microphone is yours.
So I hope you can see my screen. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. My name is Danny, and I'm QC's Chief Customer Officer. So thank you for joining this talk. This talk today is how QC product can empower process manufacturers actually to save millions on their annual operating costs and a piece of cake. So in essence, when we look on the entire supply chain, from the raw materials to the end product and beyond. Beyond could be customer complaints. Many inefficiencies are occurring due to the length and the complexity of the production process. So those inefficiencies are burdening the operational cost with excessive waste. From April earlier this year, that at least 50% of the global waste comes from industrial waste, and that's alone worth $861 billion in losses. So you need to add to the rework, recall, energy consumption and pollution, and the loss is much higher. So QC addresses the supply chain challenges with regards to the smart factory, because when you transit from the legacy manufacturing to smart manufacturing or industry 4.0, you start and get some new challenges. I'll start from the left and then move forward to the right. The first one is product quality or process quality. Quality defects are burdening the operational expenses, as we saw with regards to waste, but not only that. The variance between different products' quality can result in that you need to sell the product in a degraded quality and therefore a degraded price. Furthermore, in some industries, in the continuous and the batch process manufacturing, a product defect can lead into a downtime, and you need to stop the production, and that leads to even larger losses. The second challenge is the fact that everything today generates data. It could be the sensors, the MES, the historian, the IoTs. So the challenge today is not necessarily how to collect the data, rather than to make a meaningful insight or impact from analyzing it. And that's one of the things that we address. The third challenge is the fact that quality today in the production is provided by laboratory testing that is carried out manually. So it means that in a cycle of a few hours, you get sample every couple of hours, and it leaves you with lots of time that you cannot know anything about the process status. It's blind spotting. In addition, when you do manual testing, errors can occur, typing, measurements, and so on and so forth. So that increases also the uncertainty that you already have. The last challenge that we are addressing is the fact that experienced workers naturally are older, and they have years of experience on the production line. And today, the young people do not want to come to work in a production line or in a factory. That creates a difference between work shifts. And one of the things that we help with is to normalize the knowledge base between the more experienced to the less experienced workers. And furthermore, at least in Israel, due to the COVID, some of the older workers didn't come back to work. And it's very important to make sure that their knowledge stays with the company, it's not lost forever. So those are the challenges that we are addressing. And now, a piece of cake. What can we do in order to address those challenges? So imagine that you are not a good cook or a baker, but that's the most tangible example I found. So imagine that you want to bake a cake. So you're going to the grocery shop and you're going to buy the top ingredients in the market, the eggs, the flour, the sugar. That's equivalent to the raw materials of the plant. Then you are going to pick up the best oven and the mixer, and that are equivalent, and they are equivalent to the machines, SCADA layer, automation layer, smart factory layer, and so on and so forth. But taking the top ingredients and the best tools does not guarantee you that the cake is going to turn perfect. Is the cake going to be in the right texture, sweetness? Is it going to be in the same height? Or is it going to be identical to the cake you tried and baked last week? That's in essence our technology. It's called product or process quality control, and we help to foresee and improve the outcome. It's actually harnessing artificial intelligence and machine learning algorithms and providing you an early alert. Hey, something is wrong, plus a prediction. Your cake quality is going to be out of the tolerance allowed. And more importantly, a prescription, what you need to do in order to fix that in advance. Please add 2 spoons of sugar. Please heat up the oven with another 10 degrees, or wait with the dough another 10 minutes, and so on and so forth. So in the end, you get a 0 defected cake. Now, the technology also harnessing the artificial intelligence and machine learning algorithms is very different than other technology types that use the same artificial intelligence or machine learning technologies. For example, if you look on the predictive maintenance main objective is the well-being of the machine, while QC caters the entire supply chain, not necessarily a single machine. With regards to process optimization, maybe you've heard the term soft sensor. The soft sensor is great. The advantage of QC is that we cater the entire supply chain, plus we provide you a complete root cause analysis. And that's a value that the process optimization doesn't give you. And so on and so forth with regards to other technology types, digital twin, monitoring, IoT systems, and so on and so forth. All technologies have room and space in our world. We are doing something different. And I'll give use cases in a second. We are addressing continuous and batch process manufacturing from the building materials, chemicals, pulp and paper, the mining, and so on and so forth. Any typical continuous and batch process can be addressed by our product. Our product is a SaaS, which means it's a cloud-based product, and therefore it does not interfere, not connected to the network, to the SCADA layer. And furthermore, we don't need to store any of your data. We understand the privacy issues, so we don't need to store any of the data. I'll lead you through a couple of examples. The first one is from cement plant. It could be beton, glass, gypsum. We already have experience with all those verticals. So in this case, I'm describing the 28-day cement strength. The cement gets the maximum strength after 28 days, and if you are able to predict ahead of time, 28 days ahead of time, what would be the outcome, you can actually save a lot of money on your raw materials, on your energy, and so on and so forth. The direct contribution is about 10%. More importantly is the indirect contribution, because the cement plants or the building materials industry is responsible for 7% of the global CO2 emissions. And if we are able to reduce that by double digit, the impact is great, because you pay fines, because the environment is important, excuse me, and so on and so forth. So the indirect contribution here is as important. Another example is for the mining site, the use case, both for the tailings and the SAG mills. So the SAG mill use case is the energy consumption naturally, and for the tailing is the minimizing the standard deviation and increasing the stability. It's important to understand that every 1% improvement in the operation is resulting in more than $20 million a year. In the beginning, we've heard that the mining industry produces as much profits and margins as enterprise or software companies, and any 1% increase is resulting or resonating very well with the bottom line. So the direct contribution with QC is around $1 million a year, and this is a continuous effort. So it's a learning product. So every year it maintains the accuracy level, and you can add KPIs as many as you want. But more importantly, the indirect contribution is to increase the ESG rating or the score that you will get for better sustainability. So that's actually summarized my talk. Thank you for the patience. We are already operational in a site, a cement plant in Brazil, but we would like your kind help, and therefore I reach out to you in expanding our efforts throughout Brazil. Brazil is a huge country, and we have many places to expand to, from the building materials, mining, chemical, and the pulp and paper sectors. Both end users and partners are highly appreciated from our side. Thank you for the guys in Brazil to allow me the stage. Thank you all for your patience during this morning. Ciao, ciao.
Thank you very much, Danny. Indeed, it was a great presentation. And finally, last but not least, I'd like to call our colleague Ehud Elek from Perceptor to present for us. Thank you, Ehud. We can already see your screen. but we cannot hear you. I think you're on mute.
Okay, now can you hear me?
Yes, now we can.
Very
Thank you.
So first of all, thank you very much, everyone, for being on this call. My name is Ehud Olech. I'm leading the business development at Percepto, which is basically a technology company that provides fully autonomous drone system solutions, mainly for industrial companies and critical infrastructures. Today, Percepto is the market leader of autonomous drone in a box concept, which is a concept of a drone stationed in a box in a base station that can conduct multiple computer vision missions throughout the whole year in most weather conditions, from snow, heavy rain, winds, dust, and so on. Just before we continue and continue discussing drones, just a few words about the mining industry in general. So one of the biggest challenges today in the mining industry is transforming into a digital world. This transformation is crucial for making mines more safe, more efficient, and more profitable. And this is exactly where Percepto comes in. What you can see here is obviously the evolution of autonomous systems in the mining industry. You can see that starting from 2012, we already saw autonomous trucks, then obviously autonomous drill deployments, autonomous rails. And since 2019, we're seeing autonomous drone in a box operating in mines, and once again, assisting mines being more efficient, more productive, and of course, more profitable. Just before we continue, I would like to start with a very short video that highlights what Percepto does, just to make sure that we're all aligned here.
In our hyper-connected world, blindness is no longer an option. That's where Percepto comes into the picture. With our fully autonomous, intelligent, multi-mission drone in a box, conduct dozens of security, maintenance, and inspection missions every day. Turn your teams into super teams with real-time aerial data and aerial insights. Just place the box, define your missions, and you're good to go. With Percepto, your worldwide facilities are more secure and more efficient. Autonomous, intelligent, simple. Percepto.
Okay, I'm not sure if you were able to hear the sound. I hope you were able, but that was just to emphasize and for you to better understand the concept. The idea of the Percepto system is basically we're talking about a multi-mission system. So one system that is located in your site, and it can be a mining site, it can be a smelting site. We have lots of experience with construction, of course, utilities, energy, and so on and so forth. We're able to provide and conduct, various applications from security to safety, inspections, compliance, and more. And we have just a few minutes today, but let's drill a little bit into the applications. When we talk about security, we can patrol around sites. We're able to detect and track people and vehicles. Emergency response, acting as first responders. What you're seeing in this specific video, this is actually not far from Brazil. Okay, this is in Latin America. This specific customer, there was a person that breached into the site while he wasn't supposed to be there, and the Percepto system was able to detect, track, and alert to the customer about this specific breach. So that is security. Then we have safety applications, obviously very relevant for mining. Aerial inspection, just imagine if now there's a conveyor belt, instead of sending your guys with helmets and ropes and ladders, you can send a drone and eliminate the risk. Emergency response, let's say now, God forbid, there's a problem with the dam, with the tailing dam, or there's a fire, or there's a leak or whatever, you can send a drone and reduce the risk. We have also, I would say, very advanced technology of spill detection and anomaly detection. So the drone flies every day in the site, collects continuous data, and uses this data to understand if there's any changes, trends, deteriorations, degradations, and so on. So this specific example is the drone flew here every day, and one day it was able to see this puddle, okay, this spill, and obviously we alerted to the customer about this specific pinch. This is safety. We do have also fire detection. I know this is relevant for Brazil, for the Amazonas. We can detect fire for more than 150 meters. And of course, we have the, I would say, operational solutions. This is, very important for mining. We can basically inspect anything from, different assets, from trucks to conveyor belts. Both with the day camera and also with the thermal camera, we can see exact temperatures. So let's say conveyor belts, let's say you have, the temperature is usually between 50 degrees to 100 degrees. You can define a threshold set that means if the bearing, is now the temperature is higher than 100 degrees, you'll get an alert about this specific change. Anomaly detection, the system flies on a daily, some sites on an hourly basis, collects the data, and obviously provides you with analysis about what's happening in your site. We have lots of different additional things that we do, from orthophoto mapping, kind of a private satellite, so you can map your site on a daily basis. And of course, getting the most up-to-date view about what's happening in your site, better controlling the inventory, 3D modeling. We won't have time to go over, all the applications today. We have lots of, experience working with mining customers, if it's Rio Tinto, if it's Newmont and others. I can tell you that, we have specific applications for mining. The most, important one is asset inspection, inspecting the assets, haul road inspection. This is very relevant for autonomous trucks. Just, sending the drone to basically track the truck, okay, and see if there's any obstacles or if there's any issues with the autonomous trucks. Tailing dams inspections, vehicle inspections, and lots of, different things. Another, very important use case for mining is, of course, stockpile survey / inspection, what you're seeing here. So we can basically inspect on a daily basis, some sites on an hourly basis, measure the piles, and of course enable our customers to better control what's happening in their sites and better control their inventories. So that is specific applications for mining. No need for technical background, no need for engineering background. Basically, you just mark the area that you want to inspect / you want a 3D model for, and the system will obtain the data, okay, will collect the data, will analyze the data, and will generate reports with actionable insights. So basically, we close a full cycle, and this is very important for our customers. We know that it's time consuming to start reviewing the data. So once again, Percepto collects the data, analyzes the data with our AI capabilities and algorithms, and of course, generate reports with actionable insights. Just a few words about the system itself. We have both the software and the hardware. The hardware, we have the drone IP55, 2 cameras on the drone, a 4K camera, high resolution camera, and night thermal camera. We have the base station that mainly shelters the drone and provides power and communication. And more importantly is, of course, the software. So the drone, the autonomous system is, good to have, very sexy, but at the end of the day, our customers get, the value from the Percepto system through the software. And once again, here you can do the site setup, define where can we fly, where we're not allowed to fly. You can plan the mission in a very easy way, tell the system, go from area A to area B, take a few snapshots, change to the thermal camera, go to the different area, just like a video game. Scheduling the missions, just like Google Calendar, you can predefine missions. You can say every day at 7 a.m., 9 a.m., 5 p.m., I want to patrol, security patrol around the site. Once a week on Friday, I want to map the site. Every Monday at 4 p.m., I want to inspect the conveyor belt, just for example. So You can define the missions, live operations. You're now in Belo Horizonte, and you have a site, let's say, just for example, near Rio de Janeiro. You can remotely see what's happening right now in the site, okay? Data archive, you can see all the videos, all the photos, everything is stored in the Percepto software. And most importantly, you get a report. So the system goes, collects the data, and provides you with actionable insights. I will skip this slide. We have lots of examples from different customers that use the Percepto system. I can tell you that we have customers that actually found out that, you know, there's lots of different applications, but they found out that, you know, we can also inspect their power in the site. So let's say they have power generation, we can inspect the power grids. Just, you know, some use cases that you actually didn't think that drones can provide. And the Percepto system can actually do lots of different things, provide, you know, different value. Let me skip this for now. We have limited time. Customers value today. Percepto is able to, of course, enhance the security, reduce the safety risks, and of course, increase and improve the efficiency and productivity. Today, Percepto, we work all over the world, from Chile to Mexico, United States, soon in Canada and Europe, in many countries in the East, from Japan, South Korea, Singapore, Thailand, Australia, Africa, and so on and so forth. We work with the biggest, you know, companies out there, companies like, you know, in mining, like Rio Tinto, like Newmont, like ICL, large utility companies like Enel, like Florida Power and Light, like large energy companies like Shell, Delek US, automotive companies like Hyundai, Volkswagen, telecom companies like Verizon. So, you know, lots of different customers that are using these systems and seeing value from the Percepto autonomous systems. That's, you know, in a nutshell about Percepto. If there's any questions, you're more than welcome to just shoot me an email. My name is ehud@percepto.co with no M, so .co. Once again, I would like to thank you everyone for, you know, attending this event. And of course, thanks to the embassy for, you know, preparing this event. Have a great day. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ehud. It was a great pleasure to hear from Percepto. Always very interesting. I'll just ask you to take a look at the Q&A session. You have received, I think, 2 questions, so please feel free to type your answer or answer live if you want to. In the meantime, I'll just share a final slide with our contacts and invite you all to contact our team should you need any information, not only about the 4 companies that just presented for us, but any other Israeli company from our ecosystem. We are very happy to assist. Taly, if you want to say a few words to finalize.
Yeah, I will. Yeah, if only a few words, as we are over the time that we predicted, but I want to thank you all for your patience and for remaining with us. I want to thank the great 4 companies that are here for sharing their solutions and for giving us a great overview, a great taste of what Israel has to offer. So thank you very much for that. Again, Karin, toda, thank you very much for the partnership and for making this event happen. So I want to thank you all, and as Deborah mentioned, Leticia, myself, Deborah, and the team are here for you for anything that you need. If you didn't have time to copy the contacts on the chat, or if you have more questions that you didn't have time to ask yet, please pass it to us. We will pass to the company. We will let you talk between you, and hope to see you again in our next event, and to hear from you again for any business opportunities that you guys see with